Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. Folks, if I don't make you cry in this episode, I'm going to make myself cry. What can I say? Bringing out the Kaywoodie Campus that had belonged to my dad for no particular reason other than I hadn't smoked this one in a while, and I just wanted to smoke this guy. He's a nice little fella here. But what I'm going to be talking about is something that brings me to tears every single time. And if I make it through this episode without getting the eyeball sweats, it'll be a minor miracle. So, what am I talking about? Let's get this guy lit and let's get to talking. There are just certain songs that will make me cry like a baby when I hear them. Now, some of these, I've got a hunch that at least a couple of these you will know. A good solid 3 of the 4 you very well may know. Some of you may know all 4 of them. I'm going to talk about 4 songs today that make me cry. And I'm going to go in chronological order. So, I'm going to pull a little information up because I don't want to forget here. So, the first one is Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary. You may remember this one. Peter, Paul, and Mary were favorites of my mom. My mom was no way a hippie. She was not countercultural at all, but she did like the music of Peter, Paul, and Mary. And Puff the Magic Dragon was one of their songs, and I just looked it up. It came out in 1963. As I recall, there was a cartoon version of it, perhaps in the 70s. I seem to recall seeing a cartoon version when I was little, but at any rate, you may recall the lyrics, and I'm going to share a few of them with you. You know, Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea, and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff, and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. It's the story of a boy and his imaginary dragon. And the song goes on and talks about how Puff frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. This is all make-believe, of course. And he talks about how the boy and the dragon would play together and have adventures together. Dang it, I really actually thought I might not tear up. And I don't 100% know why. Some of it's kind of obvious if you think about it. There's a sadness to some of these lyrics. But for some reason, these 4 songs strike me so very deeply. In fact, I'm not kidding, guys. I don't know that I can actually share the lyrics with you. A dragon lives forever. A dragon lives forever, but not so little boys. Painted wings and sealing wax, and giant's rings. Make way for other toys. One gray night it happened. Jackie Paper came no more. And Puff, that magic dragon, seized his fearless roar. His head was bent in sorrow, green scales fell like rain. Puff no longer went to play along the cherry lane. Without his lifelong friend, Puff could not be brave. So Puff, that matty dragon, sadly slipped into his cave. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. If I end up releasing this video, and at this point in the recording, I haven't decided, because I didn't know for sure what reaction I was going to have doing this. Well, I'll tell you right now, you guys make fun of me in the comments, and I'm going to delete the comments. Why does that move me so much? I think partly it's the loss of innocence, right? Little boy grows up, puts childish things away. And on the one hand, you want that. Of course you want that. You want your children to grow up, your grandchildren to grow up, to be the men and women that they were created to be. Something not quite right, right? If an adult stays back in a childish frame of mind. St. Paul says this, right, in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. He says, when I was a child, I spoke like a child, right? But then I put away childish things. But that one haunts me. It haunts me. Not entirely sure why. But it has to do with the loss of innocence, I'm sure. Now that's 1963. Puff the Magic Dragon. We go to 1969, and this was first recorded by a group called the Original Cast, but it's the 1971 version by Coven that I know the best, and chances are many of you will know the best as well. It is One Tin Soldier. When this one has come on the car radio, and we'd be driving along, my family, my wife and children and I, inevitably I would have to look out, I'm driving along and I have to look out the driver's side window as I'm fighting back the tears. It's one of those story songs. Listen, children, to a story that was written long ago about a kingdom on a mountain and the valley folk below. On the mountain was a treasure buried deep beneath a stone, and the valley people swore they'd have it for their very own. And so you've got this mythical setup. You got the people on the mountain and people on the valley, or in the valley, and the people in the valley know that the people on the mountain have a treasure, and they want it. They want it. And then comes the first time we hear the chorus. Go ahead and hate your neighbor. Go ahead and cheat a friend. Do it in the name of heaven. You can justify it in the end. There won't be any trumpets blowing come the judgment day. On the bloody morning after, one tin soldier rides away. And I can't, my voice is going out here. I can't do that line for you. And then the song goes on, how the people of the valley send a message up the hill. We want the treasure. And the people of the mountain send a message back down. With our brothers, we will share all the secrets of our mountain, all the riches buried there. But the people of the valley wouldn't accept that. Now the valley cried with anger, mount your horses, draw your sword. And they killed the mountain people. So they won their just reward. And I think, again, it has to do with the death of innocence. The people on the mountain were willing to share. Wasn't good enough for the people of the valley, though. So they wage a war and they kill them. And now that the valley people are up on the mountain, stanza says, now they stood beside the treasure on the mountain dark and red, turned the stone and looked beneath it. Peace on earth was all it said. And then a repetition of the chorus line. I'm going to suggest that if you are not moved to tears by that, you might want to check the condition of your heart. The treasure was not gold. It was not gemstones, precious metals. It was the greatest gift of all, peace on earth, for which these other people killed. It's heartbreaking sadness. And indeed, how often has that gone on throughout the world, throughout history? Now, the next one comes to us from 1974. It's the one that you may not be as familiar with. It's called Country Bumpkin by a fellow named Cal Smith. And it's another one of these story songs. He walked into the bar. I won't be able to do the tune on this one, I can tell you. He walked into the bar and parked his lanky frame upon a tall bar stool. And with a long, soft southern drawl, said, I'll just have a glass of anything that's cool. A barroom girl with hard, knowing eyes slowly looked him up and down. And she thought, I wonder how on earth this country bumpkin found his way to town. She said, hello, country bumpkin. How's the frost out on the pumpkin? I've seen some sights, but man, you're something. Where'd you come from, country bumpkin? So far, just seems like a normal kind of country song. Come to the middle section, the change. It was just a short year later, in a bed of joy-filled tears, yet death-like pain. And to this wondrous world of many wonders, one more wonder came. The same woman's face was wrapped up in a raptured look of love and tenderness, as she marveled at the soft and warm and cuddly boy child feeding at her breast. And she said, hello, country bumpkin. Fresh as frost out on the pumpkin. I've seen some sights, but babe, you're something. Mama loves her country bumpkin. And that kind of tugs at you, right? Because that's a mama and her baby, this cowboy and this barroom girl. They've gotten married now and they've had their child. Then comes the final turn. 40 years of hard work later, in a simple, quiet, peaceful country place, the heavy hand of time had not erased the raptured wonder from the woman's face. She was lying on her deathbed, knowing fully well her race was nearly war on. But she softly smiled and looked into the sad eyes of her husband and her son. And you might guess where the final version of the chorus line goes. She said, "So long, country bumpkin. The frost is gone now from the pumpkin. Seen some sights. And life's been something. See you later, country bumpkin." I don't think that needs explanation, personally. But that sucker is a tearjerker, and man, it gets me every stinking time. And the last one, well, that's the greatest tearjerker of all. I bet you know it. Cats in the Cradle. It's also 1974 by Harry Chapin. You know the story. It talks about a man whose boy was born. A child arrived just the other day, came to work in the usual way. Came to the world the usual way. But there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. And he was talking before I knew it, and as he grew, he'd say, "I'm going to be like you, Dad. You know, I'm going to be like you." And the chorus line, "The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when. But we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then." Of course, the boy grows up, becomes a teenager. He wants the car, wants to drive. There's separation between him and his dad. Comes home from college just the other day, so much like a man, I had to say, "Son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while?" He shook his head and said with a smile, "What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please?" And then comes that chorus again. And you realize the boy is becoming like his dad. And the final bit, "I'm long since retired. Son's moved away. Called him up the other day. Said, I'd like to see if you don't mind." He said, "I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my job's a hassle and the kids have the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It was sure nice talking to you." As I hung up the phone, it occurred to me. You've grown up just like me. Oh, friends. What I can tell you is that I did not know that, personally. I did not know that. My dad came to my school events. He participated in my life. My dad was not an absent dad. Nor was I absent in my own children's lives. I did 4-H stuff with my daughter. Basketball, track stuff with my son. He even did preschool rodeo when he was a little boy. Very involved in all that stuff. So I don't know that one personally. But man, it rips my heart out to think of a father who doesn't spend the time with his son and then realizes too late the kind of seed that he has sown. So folks, those are the songs that absolutely tear me up. As I end this video, I can honestly tell you I don't know if I'm going to publish this or not. If I do, I'll leave this in. Are there any songs that tear you up like that? Any songs that touch you so deeply that the emotion comes spilling out of you? I'd love to hear what those are. Maybe it'd be some of the ones that I shared in this video. Maybe it would be some others. Folks, we've got to end this on a positive note, so let me say what Malcolm Guite always says. I do these little things in order at last to do nothing. Or as I say in Latin, Parva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Folks, have a wonderful day.